All right, what's up, fantasy football fools? The Ryan and Jacob show is back for the Week 7 recap. Still have not gotten a call from Pure Leaf. I don't know if they're intimidated by us with our average of 11 views per video, but that seems kind of pretentious. So I'm not sure what's going on, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm sure they'll be calling our line soon. But let's get into the Week 7 recap here. We'll start off with the absolute embarrassment of myself from Johnny here. My team is on a downward slide that is not the fun kind. I'm out here just getting absolutely destroyed week in and week out, and it's not good. What do you what do you make of this?
I mean, Johnny had a good week. He had a good week against me, two good weeks in a row. I mean, great starts with Burt and Swift. They were not supposed to get what they got. They were projected a
Unbelievable.
combined. They were projected a combined 13 points, and they got 43 points combined.
Two touchdowns apiece from two guys that don't belong really in anybody's starting lineup. It's
Yeah.
really unbelievable.
So I mean, just a great two starts there. Nobody saw that coming. Jones has been going off the past couple weeks as well, and Kyler Murray's doing Kyler Murray things. Yeah, just a bad week for you. I mean, it wasn't terrible. We've seen some terrible scores, and we'll get to those weeks or those games that, shortly. But I think you were about probably the sixth highest score, seventh highest score in the league this week, which is surprising. But not a bad week by you, but not a good week either.
With Johnny having the few buys that he did, I mean, with DK, Hunter Henry, and Josh Jacobs all out, this should have been a
You should have won.
fairly easy win for me. But the fact that he still put up 142 points without those guys is absolutely obscene. Preston Williams got like one catch and it just happened to be a touchdown. And Ronald Jones couldn't stay outside of the end zone. That guy was just like, and I mean, the points were just raining in for Johnny. And what a horrible week for me. This is just, my team is, we're definitely in desperation mode. And I don't know. It's not looking good for the Toads. I talked a lot of shit and I'm having to take my foot out of my mouth. it's rough. But all right, let's get into actually a pretty good game here between Jimmy and Chris. I'm not sure that too many people thought Chris was going to come so close. I think this was kind of projected to be a blowout here. Jimmy's been doing great. Chris has been kind of on a downhill slide like me, but he hung in there tough. Jimmy did put up a pretty low score compared to his last few weeks, but this was a pretty close game, and Jimmy ekes out the victory. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, this was supposed to be lopsided. I think Jimmy was supposed to win this, but I mean, Jimmy didn't have a good week. Derrick Henry saved his ass with 40. Outside of
No
that,
shit.
yeah, you can't. I mean, his team just sucked. All around, just was not a good week for Jimmy. But he got the win, and that's really all that matters. And it's funny because we were just talking about Jimmy's season last year. All this guy knows how to do is win football games, fantasy football games. No matter how bad his team is or how good his team is, this guy knows how to win.
He's got
He
one
just
goal in mind, and he hits that goal about 80% of the time, no matter what.
And that's what you want. We'll go to see my team, one of the most points in the league, and they're 2-4. But I mean, I'm 2-4. I'm really down. And Jimmy, who has a great team, he just knows how to win. I'm just kind of talking about last year's team. He just knows how to win, and he proved it, I guess, with this game. But yeah, Chris' team not great. Lamar did better. Lamar got 28, which
He
is
had a big
what.
touchdown run, which
Yep,
definitely pumped that score.
definitely boosted that score. So I mean, Lamar did his thing, and Chris is just hoping that continues. But Chris' team just doesn't look great. He did a trade with me, which makes his team look a little better in my opinion. We'll get to that later. But good win by Jimmy. I think Chris needs some work. I still think he needs more work on his team outside our trade. But we'll go to the next game, which is Joey and Rudy. And again, I don't
Yikes.
think anybody picked Joey to win this game except you, right? No,
No, pick Rudy to win this game.
right,
I
except
don't
you.
No, I don't think I did either.
Oh, maybe that was 2 weeks ago. You were
Yeah, no,
gloating about that.
I think I definitely picked Joey here. I did not
Joey's-
expect to see Joey have two guys on his team, two players on his team get double digits, one being Adam Thielen and the other being the Bears defense. I wouldn't have guessed that in a million years. Aaron Rodgers with a 3.8. The Bucs defense made him look like
Daniel Jones.
yeah. I was trying to think of a certain player, but I couldn't think of his name. Oh my God, that's gonna bother me now.
Yeah,
Oh,
just it was just you can think about that while I talk a little bit. But yeah,
Jamarcus
Rudy
Russell.
did. There you
Jamarcus Russell is who I was trying to say.
Yeah, but
The
Rudy's
Bucs
team did
defense
not.
made Aaron Rodgers look like Jamarcus Russell. Sorry about that, but a 3.8, that's so bad.
Yeah, and then Rudy, I mean, didn't have a great week either. I mean, just George Kittle proved that he was, the third round pick that he was. I think it's his only good game this year. He's had some injury problems, but hopefully Rudy's hoping that continues. But I mean, Rudy's team did not do well. Adrian Peterson was, I mean, that Detroit game was crazy. I mean, all these Detroit players, I didn't think Adrian Peterson would have scored either. And Kenny Galladay scored, I'm sure, with the 12.5. So, I mean, Detroit scored a lot of points that game, and Rudy benefited, and that's probably why – well, I think Joey lost more than Rudy won. But that's one of the reasons why Rudy scored more than Joey was that Detroit game. And I don't know, both these teams, hopefully Joey keeps sliding down because he is 5-1, and we thought his team was extremely good. Hopefully he just keeps sliding because that's just going to open up another spot in the playoffs for hopefully me.
Well, and you got to take into account, though, he has Russell Wilson on the bench, who's almost
Yeah.
a guaranteed 20 plus.
So
So
you think that would
have easily given him the win here, in my opinion. And then you got Tyler Lockett too, who's probably a lock for at least 7 plus as a floor.
So you
So
think Aaron Rodgers has 20 in the chamber no matter what?
yeah, but the season Russell Wilson's been, well, I guess Aaron Rodgers is having the same season. So
Both
that's a
MVPs.
good point. Yeah, I don't know, man. That Packers offense and really the Packers defense just looked really awful in that game. But for Rudy to get a win here with 86 points, consider yourself lucky, bud, because that does not happen often. But he moves to 4-2, and you can't fault that. That's a great record to have, and I'm certainly jealous as I sit at 2-4. So
we can skip this one.
No, we're not going to skip this one. We're not going to skip this one at all. Lubasi absolutely embarrassed you, and we're definitely going to talk about it because I believe, to quote you last week, I am the worst GM in history, but then come this week, here you are getting blown out just like me. So let's dissect your terrible calls here, like Alexander Madison or maybe Johnny Smith falling off. What do you want to talk about?
Johnny Smith got hurt, and Alexander Madison, anyone would have started in this league. So I did not have a bad play. My players just played bad. So that's not my fault. You played Daniel Jones, who got a 5.
He was playing the worst defense in the
plenty
NFL.
of competent quarterbacks that you could have played, especially when you were saying, "Oh, Derek Carr's going to have a big week," when Derek Carr's available in our league.
I was hedging my bet.
No, that's bad. So my team did awful. The only people that saved me, which are Kenyon Drake, who's not on my team anymore, and Amari Cooper on that Monday night, or else I would have been looking like Joey, probably even worse than Joey.
You had about 30 points coming into Monday night?
Yeah, not good. Not good at all. We got my kicker,
the lowest score in ESPN scoring history.
My kicker, who got 25 2 weeks ago, got me a 2. So that's why I traded for a fucking kicker for a freaking quarterback. We'll get to that later.
Oh, my God. What a shit team you have.
See, that's the thing. My team is not shit because, again, we'll see this later. I had the most points scored this year. So I have literally statistically the best team. I'm just 2-4. And, I mean, just not to try to get away from the Bossy team. He had a great week.
Absolutely.
Watson Fuller connection for the touchdown. Justin Jefferson continues to have a really big games and then kind of falls off in it, so he's really inconsistent. But when he gets those 35 points, that's can't really do nothing about it. With your flex getting 35, you're in position to win every time.
Yeah, Lubasi's team continues to thrive after his slow start. Again, want to emphasize that he did start slow because I was talking a lot of shit, but he did start slow. But yeah, the last 3-4 weeks, he's been absolutely going off. He beats me and you back to back in blowout fashion. I think that's safe to say.
Yep.
But yeah, his team's looking really good right now. Deshaun Watson's on the incline. He had a couple rough games to start the season, but he's been excellent the last couple weeks. Jonathan Taylor, I mean, that guy's middle name is consistency. Justin Jefferson, like you said, he's been going off. That's a solid player. I'm sure he's happy to have him on the team. But yeah, great week by Lubasi, shit week by you. I do kind of love to see that. Even though I lost, looking at this made me a little bit happy, I must say. So let's get into the next game here. We got Dom versus Chewy. Dom loses a tough game
Again.
and Chewy moves to 4-2. Both of these teams are still fairly solid. We've been talking about them all year. Dom and Chewy both have really good teams. I mean, they're putting up consistent numbers. This is just a lower score for Dom compared to what he's been putting up, but nonetheless a tough loss, losing by 7 points. I mean, if you lose by less than 10, that's a tough one. But what do you think about this?
Yeah, and I mean, Dom's 0-3 in the last 3 games. His team is going downhill. He's going to have to do something to pep talk his team. Calls Zeke and say you need more than 8 points. You were the second pick in the draft. He needs to do something because and he started 3-0. Team looked amazing. Chris Carson was on a bye, but I think he still should have won this game.
He's not losing like putting up scores like 69.
You're not going to see 69.
Putting up decent scores and losing. That's what I was trying to say.
What have we always said, though? If you don't get past 100, you shouldn't expect to win. And he did not get past 100. So he shouldn't have expected to win, even
I agree with that.
If he played someone like me or you or Joey. He shouldn't have expected it. So,
but I
don't know what he's got in the last.
So getting along the lines of you saying that he's on this 3-game losing streak. But he hasn't been losing with shit scores.
I don't know what he got the last 2 weeks, honestly, or prior to this. I don't know if it was like 130 or if it's been less than 100.
I don't know if it was that high, but I think he's been putting up some decent scores.
Right, but I mean, nonetheless, it's a fact that you're 3-3, you're 0-3 in the last 3 games. Just kind of like back to my team. I have really high scoring points, but the fact of the matter is I'm 2-4. Like,
right.
The record is what matters. So being 3-3, Dom's team is on a slide. We'll look at the standing. I'm curious on what your side of the standing. I don't think I've looked at that yet, but good win by Chewy. I think another Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen connection in the end zone. I think you said this a week or 2 ago that's been the sneakiest and probably the best duo we've seen in fantasy so far. Because Diggs was probably like an 8th round pick and Josh Allen was probably like a 10th round pick. I don't know. That's just a guess, but very sneaky duo that's worked out really well for Chewy. And then Jones comes back healthy and just gets 2 touchdowns. Great, just a great. It wasn't that good of a game from Chewy either. Only 101, but Juju didn't do that well.
I think maybe one of the bigger surprises in this game is the Colts defense only putting up 3 points versus the Bengals offense. They barely won that game. I think everybody saw that going completely differently than it did. The Bengals came out hot. I think they took a 14-0 lead. It may have even been 21. I can't remember if the Colts scored in between that, but the Bengals came out hot. The Colts defense has been nothing but stellar this year, and to see them put up that 3, sure Dom was pretty frustrated with that, but I was surprised to see that. But Chewy's team definitely did go off, or I guess a few players went off. A lot of low defensive scores this year. I feel like this has not been a year where there's been a whole lot of thriving defenses, because I know I personally have seen a lot of negative scores, and I know a couple other people have as well, and then Chewy has one this week. The defenses have been hard to hard to pick this year.
Yeah, I'm glad I got the Bucks, who I think I just picked up on waivers like week 3 or week 2, and they look amazing with the Packers, though I didn't start them. But I think they're a must start every week now.
Yeah, well, I mean, with the depth of the other defenses, the other choices you got, you got to.
Pretty low, right? Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's get into the last game here. James versus Matt, two of our lower tier teams, struggling to climb back into relevancy. James squeaks out the win here. I know it's a big win for James to move him to 2-4. He's sitting at 1-4 before this game. Probably if you're sitting at 1-4 in fantasy, it's almost a must-win game. So I'm sure James is happy to get this win. Matt's been on a downhill slide ever since week 1. His team's just not there. He's had a lot of injury problems, though. To be fair to Matt, but yeah, he's taken some tough losses this year.
Yeah, I mean James, did his thing. Claypool had another great week. Not the week he'd had last week, but worthy week with 16. Yeah, great. It was a good game. James comes up on top. I picked James to win the mini game, which I don't think a lot of people did. I think Matt was a pretty popular vote there, so I'm glad James did win for my mini game vote. But yeah, Adams didn't do well. Like we just kept saying, Tampa Bay's defense was just so stingy. Chase Edmonds was a interesting call with 3.4. I mean, Drake still gets the bulk of the carries. He's just not really that good. I think Edmonds might, start taking more carries. Hopefully he does because I just traded Drake. But so Edmonds could be a sneaky play maybe in a couple of weeks, depending on Drake's situation. But, he had buys. Keenan Allen was on a buy. Phillip Lindsay came back, looked pretty good. I mean, 10.1 with – I don't think
But
Melvin Gordon played.
I think Melvin was out that game, so
Yeah, I
that's
think he was too. So that's
yeah.
not
Take
actually
that
that
into account.
great. Yeah. But Andy Dalton start, James rode the ball with that and got 11. Not really probably what he was hoping for, but he won. So you can't really if I win, no matter what, if I put up 70 or something like that and I still win, you're probably not that happy, but you got the win. Like you said,
Exactly.
you don't want to start 1-5, 2-4 is the right directions James needs to be in. Hopefully he pulls out the W this week because I think he plays one of the top dogs in Jimmy or Joey, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean Matt's team definitely needs some help, but he's been without Michael Thomas for the entire year, except for week 1, but he went out early in that first game, and
3 points.
yeah, so I know he's hurting to get Michael Thomas back, but even so, I think he's still got to look to build this team somewhere, and he's going to need to do it fast. I mean, Pat Mahomes is a great piece to build around. So he does have that going for him, but we'll see if Matt can turn it around because time is running out. He sits at 2-4 though, just like me and you. And speaking of that, we'll go take a look at the standings here, where me and Matt sit at the bottom of our division over here. But Joey takes his first loss, so our division leader looks a little bit more beatable, and our 2-4 doesn't look as bad as if he would be sitting at 6-0 right now. So that's one good thing.
Yeah, we got to think about, there's 4 people who make the playoffs. So right now, the 4 people would be Jimmy, Joey, Rudy, Chewy. And right now, the 3-3 teams are 1 game back from the 4-2, and then we're only two games back. So we're not out. There's still 7 games to go. So there's a lot of time left to win, but also time is running out because you can't really lose too many games anymore. So I'm just kind of looking at Rudy. I think Rudy's the odd man out in those 4. I think Rudy has the worst team out of the 4, so we're hoping or looking for Rudy to start losing. But I'll take any losses from those top 4 any day. So me and you have a game this week for the 2-4, and it's kind of a must win for both of us. I don't want to be 2-5. So I don't think you want to be 2-5. So
obviously not.
Yeah, it's going to be a big question. But yeah, the standings, it's a little closer than I kind of expected or thought. But, we just need to start winning these guys at the bottom. Me, James, Ryan, Matt, and even Chris. If Chris wins out 8-5, that could make it in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, if all of us win out at this 2-4 spot, I don't know. And I think it would be fair to mention that our matchup may possibly be toilet bowl number 3. I know you say you've got the highest points in the league, but we both sit at 2-4, and our teams are looking kind of rough right now. So as much shit as we talk about other people's team, I think it would be fair to say that we may have our third toilet bowl of the year and me and you's matchup this week.
I don't talk as much shit as you do, so it's kind of better when you lose because a lot of people make fun of you for losing. Because you talk about
there.
Anyway, we did have a couple trades. If Ryan, you want to go to the trades, just kind of talk about this a little bit. Two of the 3 trades actually were me, so I can talk a little bit about that from my perspective, and then I can ask Ryan who he thinks he wins in each trade. But going down to the first trade, me and Chris, I gave him Kenyon Drake and Noah Fant, and he gave me James Robinson and Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz was a throwaway. I think I had 2 or 3 people today actually ask me or, said, hey, Zach Ertz is on IR. Like, what's going on? I know you asked me that, and Joey asked me that on the Facebook page. And really, I didn't know that, nor did I care because I just told Chris, just throw whoever the hell you want in that trade because I really didn't care who I got. But it also works at Zach Ertz. I still have an IR spot open, so he can just kind of chill there till maybe like either a bigger guy gets hurt or he gets healthy. But just my mindset on this. Noah was a backup. Jonnu Smith is the 4th best tight end in the league right now, so Font would rarely get in except for an injury. And then Kenyon Drake, I've been frustrated with him all year, and I think it was a good time to sell on him because of his 26-point week that he just had against the Cowboys, which is the worst defense. And then James Robinson, Chris got him off of waivers like maybe 4 weeks ago. He's actually the 6th best running back in the league this year. So I thought he was going to be a sneaky pickup. I don't know how you feel about this, but I don't know. Just having James Robinson be who I got isn't a flashy name. It's not like a Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It isn't like a Christian McCaffrey or anything. It's a sneaky pickup, and I really like the trade. I really like what I got and the value I got for James, and I just hope he continues on what he's been doing. What do you think about this?
It was interesting that your first example of flashy names was Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Well, it's like a first-round pick. I'm not getting
what
I meant is like
with it, but
I'm not like a first or second.
Was like the first guy that you thought of.
Yeah.
But no, I think this is a fair trade for both of you guys. If Chris thinks Kenyon's gonna have a good year, I don't know. You think James Robinson has been doing really well. I don't think the Jags have the best offensive line, but it's not the worst. It's kind of just a decent one. So I don't know what their schedule looks like moving forward. I'm sure you took a look at that and compared the two, but no, I think this was a good trade for both. Zach Ertz is on IR, but who knows how long he'll be out. You may be able to use him at the end of the season. I know you got Jonnu, so you got plenty of time to wait on that. But yeah, I think a pretty decent trade. And I think the same thing about your Ben Roethlisberger for Justin Tucker if you needed a kicker that bad.
Yeah, and I mean, just my mindset, I know Chewy kind of gave me shit about that in the Facebook. I don't know if he gave me shit, but he talked about it. And, Ben Roethlisberger, again, was my backup quarterback, and I picked up Tua on the waivers. So I had 3 quarterbacks. So I was going to drop one in like a week or two. Just I wanted to see what Tua's first game looked like, and then I would have, made a decision on what Tua I wanted to go with. Right. And, I just decided I looked at everybody's kickers throughout the whole year. I have the worst kicking statistics in the league, and it wasn't even that close. I have the lowest amount of points from the kicker on anyone in this league this year. So with this trade, I got the second best kicker in the league. So I would have just dropped, let's say, in like a week or two, Big Ben, and I would have got nothing in return. Instead, I got the second best kicker in fantasy so far this year. So I liked it, and it was a good – I think James won this trade by a mile. I think he's going to get so much more out of Big Ben because he has Drew Brees as his quarterback, which, he's Drew Brees, but he hasn't been doing that great this year. And I think Big Ben can step into that starting quarterback role for him and be really good. And now he'll have a duo with Claypool too. So I think James killed me in this trade. but it's something that I needed. And I at least got something in return for my backup.
Yeah, you're watching the Old Town Toads kicker position just shoot to the
I mean,
moon, and you're
I
getting kind
offered
of
you the trade
jealous.
too.
Yeah, but I wasn't gonna give you the best kicker in the league for a
He's
position
actually
that
the
I hardly
third.
needed. Who? My guy?
Yeah.
He had one.
Tucker's
He had a week
2
where
and
he was injured. That's
3,
why.
and Blankership is 1. But I didn't want to give Jimmy a quarterback because I didn't want to make his team better. And speaking of Jimmy getting a quarterback, that was the next trade we're going to go over. And I think Jimmy wins this just because he's going to utilize Rodgers a lot more than Joey's going to utilize White and Judy. But I think Joey, I don't know. This was this is a fair trade, but if I was Joey, I don't think I would have made this trade because I think this pushes Jimmy to be the favorite to win this league past Joey. I don't know if you think that, but once I saw this trade, I thought that Jimmy now bounced above Joey as the favorite.
Well, the only thing I know is that the NFC North, just because I'm a Bears fan, has a pretty tough schedule this year. And I know that the Bears definitely are seeing a lot of good defenses, which means the Packers are going to be seeing a lot of good defenses. So I don't know. Aaron Rodgers had a really shitty week this week, and I don't know if that just kind of fueled Joey to get rid of him. But you also got to think Russell Wilson's done with his bye now, so Joey doesn't really need Rodgers anymore,
Right.
unless Russell gets hurt. I mean, we hope that doesn't happen, but that's the one thing where this could come back to bite Joey, in my opinion. So really, I think he gets Jerry Jeudy and James White for Sammy Watkins, basically. I don't think it's so one-sided. I think it's really, if you look at it, it's kind of good for both of them because if Aaron Rodgers does start to go off, then great for Jimmy, but Joey really doesn't need him.
Hey, but would you really trade? I still think Aaron Rodgers is a top 3 MVP candidate this year, just because of one bad game. I'm not going to count him out yet. But would you trade somebody that caliber? I know you got the best quarterback in the league, or Russell Wilson. Would you trade him to the second best team in fantasy and make that team better? I don't think I would have done that. I think I would have tried to give him to James because I know James was looking for a quarterback, or I would have tried to give another quarterback deficient team that see what I could have. I don't know who Joey talked to. Maybe he did go to
Right,
James.
that's what
Maybe
I'm
he
gonna
did
say.
go to
You don't know
Lubasi.
what
Not
he's
that
offered.
Lubasi wanted. Right, not that Lubasi needed him, but going to other people who needed a quarterback. I don't know if that happened or not. But I don't think I would have made this trade. And the only reason why is because of who he made the trade with. I like the people and what his return was, but I just don't like who he made the trade with because, like I said, I think that bumps Jimmy's team above Joey's team now for the favorite to win the league. And that's the only
Yeah.
reason I don't like the trade. Not that I think it's a fair trade. I just don't like who he gave it to. Basically.
Yeah, and I don't know if, and obviously, like you said, we don't know who else he tried to hit up, but I mean, I do agree with that. Jimmy's kind of a big piece of competition here for the whole league. So yeah, I get that, and I don't know how bad Joey wanted Jerry Jeudy because I think that's kind of the piece here that he was really going after. I don't think he was pursuing James White super hard. But yeah, it just kind of comes down to what he wanted. I don't know if he tried to get other guys or not, but all in all, I think it could help both teams equally, but it could also hurt them both. I don't know.
Yeah, I think James White's a sneaky pickup. I actually drafted James White and I dropped him for I think it was Devontae Freeman actually, which I'm kind of pinching myself to doing that now. But I think it's a sneaky pickup. But the Patriots offense isn't looking that great. But I think James White gets enough passes to be fantasy relevant every single week. So I think James White's a sneaky pick. I think Joey, if he didn't get James White, I don't think he would have done this trade.
No, maybe not, but I don't think that
No.
was like the piece that he was really really pursuing. But I don't know. I could
I'm
be
sure
wrong.
he's asking.
But yeah, a lot of big trades today, nonetheless. I don't think any were super dominant. Maybe the one with you and James for the kicker and quarterback, like you said, that was a position you needed. So sometimes you got to make those trades. But yeah, busy day on the trades. Hopefully we can see some more. I'm sure we'll see some more coming through. I know we've got some teams like the Old Town Toads in desperation mode. So We'll be looking forward to see some more of those coming through. But that's a Week 7 recap. Season's still alive, I think, for everybody, at least at this point. We've got a couple teams on the brink of losing out on that playoff spot, but I think the Corona Cup is still attainable for everybody as of right this moment. So
Yep.
I guess with that, the Ryan and Jacob Show will sign off, and we will catch you guys next time.
Peace.